everybody, it's Dave Nasty with Next Level Guitar. How you doing? So today what I want to talk about is numbers, doing some scales with some numbers, mixing in some cool practice patterns, and a way to use these numbers to get some good rhythms. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about the opening lick that I did. I think you guys might like to learn that one too as well, so we'll all throw that in the mix. Hey everybody, gotta tell you, click on that link that you see below in the YouTube text box. If you want a video, a free video that is not available on YouTube, it comes with a coinciding ebook that has all kinds of great scale diagrams and shapes, everything that you need to get by in your everyday playing. So click on that link that you see below in that YouTube text box. The scales that I'm going to use in today's lesson are these ones. So let's just talk about it. We're going to be diatonic to the key of G and or E minor, and the shape initially that we're going to talk about looks just like this. Now, some of what we just did was on one string, so let's kind of outline this scale on one string as well. Jumping up, and then, okay, so numbers create great sense of rhythm in your playing, and for the sake of exercise, I think it's a good way to work on different picking patterns and kind of change it up. You know, there's always a lot of the same going on when it talks about doing some of these exercises. And ultimately, you know, as a guitar player, you want to be really melodic. And I think a lot of times these phrases are things to put in between your ideas of melody, right? We don't want to focus on all of these crazy licks as being the crux or the main meat and potatoes of what you do, but maybe little doorways or passageways in between really cool melodic ideas. And sometimes working these things out slow and through entire scale shapes is a good way to practice them. So we'll get to the lick I did at the top of the video, maybe towards the end. What I want to do first initially is talk about fours and using that scale shape in a group of 4 notes. It's a cool way to practice, and it's good for hammer-ons and pull-offs. And that scale that we did at the top there is in the key of G. It's our Mixolydian scale shape in position, right? I'm starting from D, and again, I'll outline it, and then we'll go ahead and play through this in groups of 4. So again, our scale is just like this. I love him. I'm a fan of Mixolydian. I celebrate him all the time. Great way to practice. So now let's do this guy in 4s. So the easiest way to think of this is you're going to start from a different note in the scale every time, but always only play 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting with a downstroke, down, up, down, up. Going to the next note, down, up, down, up. And you can see our pattern starting to develop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to keep continuing through. Really kind of fun to do. You're going to find out that you have some odd fingering situations when you go through these things, and I kind of think that's good as a guitar player because it's new territory, right? You don't want to just stick to the comfort zone. So within this, let's check out what happens when we're doing 4s. Right here, I'm going to go transition from the G to the B string that's really kind of odd. Really great feel to it when you go through the pattern. Descending, you're going to do the exact same thing. A little bit of a finger slide right there. Again, just different way to go about this, and it's fun to do this in every single scale shape. It breaks up the monotony of doing, you know, straight up and down in a scale shape, or even some of the old. I mean, we've covered a lot of these kind of things, so you want to be able to mix all this up and put it together. And doing 4s is kind of a cool way to get started with it. Okay, so what else is cool, right? We can do 5s. 5s are also really fun to do. And when I do 5s, I'll stick to one string. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look what happened. I started with my pinky. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you get... That's really cool. That's totally different and a nice way to practice. So we're just using the same scale. Again, we had our 4s. And now our 5s. That's really kind of neat and different, all within the same thing. We can do groups of 6 notes, and we've done groups of 6 notes in the past like this. Just thinking, ascending in 6 notes, starting from each string within the scale shape. Descending, that one's great. Wicked pattern when you're going through that one. I start that one with an upstroke. So that is really, really cool pattern to do. Now I can do a couple of different variations here. Let's talk about 7s, right? 7s is going to lead us into what I did kind of at the top of the video. 7s look like this, and it's kind of funny when you practice this because it reminds you of those early days of doing alternate picking and just going for broke with too many notes on one string. But you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm used to doing this because I love that pull-off pattern in itself. I think that's one of the coolest pull-off patterns. So to do the picking with it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, another one. Get it going? I'll try that again, see if I can get faster. So, talking about how I did this all on one string. We have right there on that E. Right, so how can we spice this up and make it more of an attention getter if you're shopping in a music store and you want some attention? All right, the first thing at the top. Those are cool licks to do. They're just obnoxious, you know, but they're fun picking licks. So if I take that and I descend in my 7 after I do this, I guarantee you that dude behind the desk at Guitar Center is going to come help you out. All right, so that's kind of fun to do. Now, what have we covered? Basically, we're talking about some numbers and just kind of keeping it interesting. There's all kinds of ways to do that in your playing. If you talk about pentatonic scale, you know, take an E minor pentatonic. We talked about 6s. You could do 6s in pentatonic. That's great, and we've all heard these licks. They're just interesting ways to spice up your everyday playing, and that's kind of a lighthearted way to go about changing things up in your day sometimes. You know, we all sit and practice the same things all the time. We're definitely guilty of that, you know, and sometimes we can obsess on them too much and just say, oh, I gotta get it, I gotta get it, I gotta get it. Well, changing it up and changing your routine, thinking in these different combinations of numbers is always a cool way to spice it up, and it's low stress, and I think that's pretty important. So what did we cover today? We covered 4s. We covered 5s today. We talked about 6s. And descending, we really liked that one. Starting with an upstroke on that one. If I start with a downstroke, I will say this because this is pretty important. Watch what happens. I go down. You get what's called this inside picking motion here with your right hand, and you want to watch that. So you want. We've got 7s. And we use 7s in a cool lick today. And I'm going to resolve this lick with maybe a blues thing in pentatonic, just so that way you can see that, hey, you know what, we're not just playing a bunch of notes for the sake of it, but if you got that moment in your song, it would actually work out really cool. Just different ways to kind of throw in some spice in your playing. So everybody, go to the website, please. Over 1,000 lessons on there. Right now, currently, you get the opportunity to have a nice 3-day hall pass, test drive, run, wreak havoc in the halls of the education here at nextlevelguitar.com. It's perfect. I guarantee you, you will be a regular. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.